everything I think is overcomable. I don't think that anything is a deal breaker for the most part. I don't think that. It's just a matter of, okay, it kind of just didn't work out this way, so now we have to pivot. How are we going to make it, still work, and how are we going to overcome this?
Welcome, everyone, to the Closing Table Podcast. Real accounts from real estate professionals from across the country. I'm your host, Kat Schooler. Today, I am here with Jill Bardy, real estate agent with the Bardy Group Howard Hanna in the greater Cleveland area, Ohio. Jill, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here with me. Let's just start right off the top with how you got started in real estate.
So I've actually been in the housing industry for, this is going to age me, but about 30 years. I spent about 25 of it as a mortgage underwriter. We all know how the mortgage industry has been very volatile, up and down. So the last time I got laid off was in June of 22. And I've always wanted to get my real estate license. So my husband said, you know what, you've always wanted to do it. Now's your shot. So here I am today. Yeah. And the best decision I've made. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. Do you feel like all that experience as a mortgage underwriter was just kind of leading you in this direction?
It's very helpful. I've been very blessed that I know it was kind of a seamless transition for me because I knew so much. I mean, I've dealt with realtors, I've dealt with the loan officers on the mortgage side. So it was more just, it was a huge advantage, huge advantage. I didn't have to learn a lot of the lingo. I didn't have to learn the contracts really, because I was already so familiar with every aspect of it pretty much. Of course, there's been some surprises here and there, but yeah, definitely led me in that direction.
That's awesome because when I talk to agents and they kind of talk about going through school and then the kind of the gap between the classes and doing the actual job, like kind of the recurring theme I hear over and over again is that nobody teaches you how to write a contract.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll be honest, people that have never, I give so much credit to people who just are like, I want to be a real estate agent, and they go and take those hard classes and they pass that test and they navigate it all. I honestly can't imagine learning all that without knowing what I knew prior. So the agents that do it without any background like that, wow, they amaze me because I can't imagine I knew how to write a contract. I knew what was in there and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And I'm sure it makes you incredibly valuable to your clients, especially like at the closing table and negotiating and things like that.
Yeah, it's very helpful. It's super helpful, I think, a lot of times just with first-time home buyers because they just don't know anything in the process. And so it's really, really helpful that I'm able to give them the real estate side of things, what to expect, but also kind of the mortgage stuff. I just had a client this morning that called me and she was like, I just got my final closing disclosure and it's saying that I have to bring $14,000, to close. And I was only supposed to bring this. And I was like, no. I said, send it over to me. Let me take a look at it. And yeah, what she was looking at. But, it's just super helpful because I'm able to walk them through that. I can kind of explain things to them, especially first-time home buyers, in a way that they just seem to understand more because I've done that whole side of it. So, yeah, I think that I'm able to provide a sense of comfort to them. And they trust me because, I did that for 25 years. So, yeah, it's very helpful, especially with first-time home buyers.
Certainly. And do you find that there are other differences in working with your first-time home buyers versus your home buyers who have, that aren't first-time home buyers?
I think that there's so many people that haven't bought, purchased a home, or even with sellers sold a home, for so many years, or they did it 10 years ago, which is completely different than it is now. So I think that me having that background is helpful in all aspects. But even with sellers, like being able to, I know appraisals so well, like I've underwritten the appraisals. I've approved appraisers to be able to work for companies that I've been with. So I know that for sellers, I know what an appraiser is going to look at. I know how they're going to comp homes. And then for people that aren't first-time home buyers, it's very helpful, I think, because especially nowadays when so many people are sitting at like a 3% interest rate, to be able to have that background of what interest rates could potentially be doing, of the difference between, buying something new at 7%, or staying in where you are at 3%, and there's just so many aspects that I think it just is 100% helpful. Honestly, every single day, no matter who I deal with, what clients, I'm usually saying to myself, like, I'm so lucky that I have that background. So lucky. I felt like I rambled there.
I'm sure your clients are really lucky too. No, you're great. Your clients are lucky to have, you with that experience too. Going back to kind of transitioning from mortgage underwriting to being an agent, did you have any mentors who kind of helped you in that transition?
Not really. I mean, I would say the manager of Howard Hanna's office in Strongsville, her name is Tina Grant. She's absolutely wonderful. She's so knowledgeable. I'll be honest, there was, I think any new agent, they come to a point where they're like, maybe I shouldn't have done this, and there was one point that I was like, I'm just going to go back to underwriting. I'll just, I'm glad I didn't, but she's really, really kind of been my best mentor, because she's just been so helpful. She understands that I have that background, so she kind of gave me more of a not like, I wasn't on as tight of a leash with her overseeing everything that I was doing at first, which was nice because I learn a lot just by trial and error too. But she's just, I just can't say enough good things about her. And still to this day, I'll be like, what do you think of this idea? Like, I'm thinking about doing this just for like marketing and stuff like that. And she just sent me something the other day that I was like, I have never even thought about doing that. Like, thank you so much, So, yeah, it's nice to have that somebody to and she's been in the business forever. So anything she says, I really take to heart. So.
That's awesome. And I bet probably from your experience working in the mortgage, you met a lot of different agents. And so you kind of probably had this like really advantage of like knowing where you wanted to end up.
Yeah, that's I did know a lot of agents. It was more, when I was underwriting, it was more like talking to them on the phone. So I didn't really have a name with a face type thing. So a lot of the names I've noticed, but then it's been interesting because I've done, some deals where the agent's like, oh, did you used to work for here? And I'm like, yeah. So it's funny because they even recognize my name, or some people will be like, well, I think we've met. And I'm like, nope, I don't think so. And then I mentioned like the underwriting thing. They're like, yeah, I bet that's where it's from. So yeah, it's helpful. It's just helpful to know where I think what's been huge, and I hear this a lot, and trust me, I'm not one to like toot my own horn, but I do hear a lot from dealing with other agents on my transactions that I'm just so easy to work with that it's like refreshing that I have, of course I'm always working. If I'm a seller, I'm working in their best interest. With the buyer, I'm working in theirs. But I understand the big picture of everything, So I think that's, I've ran into it. There's a lot of agents that just want to butt heads and, argue. And it's like, well, that's not doing anybody any good, like, let's just negotiate, figure this all out. And people laugh because I'm always like, it'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Like, I don't panic. I don't, and I think that a lot of agents appreciate that. And I think that has to do 100% with me having to put out fires of appraisals, of inspections, of, closing dates getting extended, and having to have, loan officers and realtors and stuff calling me and all that. So I get where they're coming from. I know, and I think that's a huge, huge, huge advantage. So,
do you think, without obviously just having worked 25 years in mortgage underwriting, there's something that other real estate agents could be doing to kind of learn to focus on the bigger picture, or kind of be more confident about contracts? Like, do you have any kind of little slices of advice?
I'll be honest. I even, one of the first meetings that I went to in my office, I could not believe there was an agent that is very well known in the area, does, a lot of business, has been in it for a while. And I was just kind of shocked that they didn't know this one thing about mortgages, and how discount points work. And I was kind of shocked. Because I think that, I think if you're in the business, you should know a good idea of everything that's involved in the business. And I think there are a lot of agents out there that don't know the mortgage side of it, that aren't able to instruct their clients well about that whole process, about different programs that are available. And I think that it's kind of our job to know that, especially, working with a buyer. Like, we're working in their best interest. I think it's good to kind of have a general idea of what type of a program they might fit into, or, I just think it's smart. So my only advice would be, there's always all kinds of free webinars and stuff, just basics of lending, basics of programs. It doesn't hurt. It's only going to help you, to get that additional knowledge, especially, with interest rates where they are, and home prices and inflation and all that. There's so many first-time home buyer programs. I know OFA, Ohio Housing Finance Agency, because I'm in Ohio. I know they just put on something for realtors to kind of learn more about OFA and stuff like that. So I think it's very helpful. It's good to know that information for your clients.
Certainly. It makes me even think, like, you could probably, even just if you have a lender in your area that you work with a lot, or someone you could probably just buy them coffee. And, they might sit down and talk shop with you, because everybody likes to talk a little bit of shop.
Absolutely. I'll be honest, I did that when I first got licensed. There was a handful of loan officers that I really loved throughout my career, and I called them like, hey, I just got licensed, let's meet up, catch up and all that kind of stuff. So, it's helpful. It's helpful to have those contacts, especially, there's one loan officer that I know, he does programs that nobody else does. Nobody else does them. So, I mean, it's helpful to, when you have those additional people in your network, to be able to put your clients in contact with, because you do run into, well, so-and-so can't do it, so-and-so, interest rates too high. And there's programs out there. So it's good to, keep knowledgeable about that.
Awesome. So we've talked so much about kind of you have this super strong background in the contracts and things like that. When you became an agent, were there any things that surprised you about your journey on the agent side of things?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there is a lot. I never thought that the job would be easy, that this profession is easy. I know that a lot of people think, oh, it's easy money and you just go sell some houses. So that never really surprised me. I think, I don't want to say this, but I think I'm more surprised about a lot of just the lack of professionalism sometimes. And I think that that's so important. This job is, it's a sales position, it's a sales oriented profession. And it makes me sad that sometimes it's not taken seriously by the public, by other people. And so I think that just as an industry, I think that, and I'm not saying the industry as a whole, but I just think that in recent years, I think there's been such an influx of agents who aren't necessarily in it to help people, that got in during the COVID times and stuff like that just for quick money. And I think that that's been most surprising to me, is a lot of the lack of professionalism. Just not return. I mean, simple stuff like I want to put an offer in on a house and I don't get a call back or a text back, or you ask questions and no answers, or that's been really amazing to me. And I think that has to do with just, I haven't done this, my entire life. And I was always taught with any, through my underwriting, I mean, we had to return calls. Like put fires out and all that. And it just is kind of surprising to me that, I don't know. I think that that's the most, I'm just thinking about it now and it just blows my mind a little bit, but yeah.
I would be in your same position too. Like,
yeah,
like this is the basic. So, it's a
Yep.
communication job, it's a sales job, and if we don't
Yeah.
communicate, we can't sell.
Just common courtesy. I think the lack of common courtesy so much is just, it's mind blowing sometimes. It's just mind blowing. Like you have people's, whether it's your seller or a buyer, no matter what person you're representing, it's a huge transaction, and people's emotions, people are like emotional, they're nervous, they're, this, they're that. And I think the number one thing that I get told is that your communication is great. Like I never know, I'm never wondering what's going on. I always let them know. If it could be bad, but I'm still going to let you know, so that you have a full understanding. And I think that it's just a lack of courtesy. That's what I do. It's just common courtesy, good communication, be honest, and I think that everything else pretty much falls into place because people appreciate that, they do. That's the common theme that I hear from my clients. So
That's great. When you do unfortunately have to give your clients some of the bad news, is there kind of anything like you do to kind of help them with the bad news, help them kind of get off the emotional roller coaster?
Yeah, sometimes it's tough, but I think when it, especially in this business, people work with real estate agents generally because they feel like they can trust that agent. So I do a very good job, I think, at the very beginning when I first start working with somebody, or when it's even thought like, hey, we might be working together in the future. I give them a pretty good idea of what they can expect, good or bad. And I just always let them know, no matter what happens, I will handle it. We will handle it. We will take care of it. ultimately it'll all be okay. So I put that in their head, from the beginning. And I always do let them know, like, there is a chance that this could happen. This is what could be the outcome of it. Hopefully it's not, but if it is, just so that you're prepared. And I think that just telling them up front, and being honest is really helpful, to where if you do have to, things fall out of contract, homes don't appraise for what, their offer is, and inspections, bad things come up on inspections. But I think it's all how you handle it. Like, it's not everything, I think, is overcomable. I don't think that anything is a deal breaker for the most part. I don't think that. It's just a matter of, okay, it kind of just didn't work out this way, so now we have to pivot. How are we going to make it, still work, and how are we going to overcome this? So
I'd like to take just a moment and tell you about our sponsor. Windowstill provides premium real estate media for agents, builders, and property management companies nationwide. To learn more, visit windowstill.com. Windowstill, helping America find their next chapter. Now, back to the episode. That's awesome. Speaking of your clients, do you have any favorite client stories?
I do. I have a bunch. So, I have a bunch. So, I love my clients. I have a sad one right now. I just found out one of my favorite sellers of all time. He was an elderly man, and he was just the sweetest, one of the sweetest people I've ever met. Like, just genuine heart, super sweet. Totally put his trust in me with everything. He called me his little firecracker, because he's like, there's my firecracker, because he's like, you just get stuff done. And he just passed away.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
so
and
sorry.
his niece, who lives down in Columbus in Southern Ohio, she texted me to let me know that he had passed away. And honestly, I was so touched
That's
by
so
that,
sweet.
because I'm like, it's not very often, I don't think, that like another family member lets the real estate agent that helped their uncle know that he passed away. But he was definitely one of my favorites. He loved, we went out to lunch. He used to be an elementary school or a high school teacher, and so he recommended a bunch of books to me, and he loved corned beef sandwiches, and he was just the sweetest man ever. I have lots of them, lots of them. Yeah, yeah.
Hit us with another one. I mean, maybe
Another one.
I love
Ooh,
that, but that one
yeah.
ends sadly.
Yeah, no, it's good. What I loved about it is I didn't realize we were so alike, but he planned his entire, I went to his funeral service, and he planned the whole thing down to the T. That's how like regimented he was. He planned it out, everything. And I thought that was just like, I don't know. I just loved him. I would say another one was they were my first buyers ever. They were first time home buyers, young couple, had a son, and it was fun. They made it fun. I drove everywhere. They didn't know where they wanted to live, what kind of house really. We drove everywhere. We went everywhere. And I will be honest, they ended up buying a home, and that was probably when I was like, I knew that this is what I need to be doing, because when I showed up and gave them their keys and all that, we still talk. I mean, I keep in touch with all my clients, but they were just so fun. It was a long process. It was like a 4 or 5 month process, driving around looking at homes constantly before they found one. But yeah, they were young. They were getting kicked out of their place because the landlord was selling it. And so it was a very stressful time, and they had this cute little son, and they're just an adorable little family, and I was just blessed blessed to help them. So yeah.
That's so great. When you say you follow up with your clients or you keep in touch, like what does that mean for you?
I I usually I just called that couple that I was telling you about. I just talked to them because both of their birthdays were in March. So
Mm.
I usually just, come like, hey, happy birthday, this and that. I reach out during the summer, like with them because I was like, hey, if there's an opportunity we can get together, this summer, just kind of hang out. That never happens. Everybody's so busy, but I do. I keep in contact. I check in, um, with birthdays or if I knew that they were planning, doing something this summer. I have one client, she's got a place up in Vermilion by the lake, so I know they're probably getting that already and like, are you ready for lake season? And she's like, you're gonna have to come up. You have to come up this summer. So yeah, I just always I don't that's just I follow up with them. I don't know. Like
Right.
I don't know because I think about them all the time. Like it's the weirdest thing. Like I have a thing in my office of pictures of my clients, like when they
Oh, that's
bought or
lovely.
sold and all that. So yeah, yeah, I'm very grateful for them. I mean, without them, you know, I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
doing this. So yeah, yeah,
I think a lot of agents like either maybe feel like following up has to be this like big to do or there has to be some sort of gift or whatever. But I think what's so great in your case is that it doesn't have to cost you any money, first of all.
right,
And like secondly, you're just being you.
right.
You're genuinely interested and it's just that simple.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And I just went to talk last Friday um at Howard Hanna's main office. They invited me to come talk to like rookie agents. And that was one of the questions, like what's the biggest piece of advice you would give a new agent? And I think 100% that is my biggest piece of advice. Be yourself. Take tips from everybody, listen to what everybody else is doing, but don't model yourself after somebody. How you handle a transaction, how you interact with clients, how you present things, because ultimately people want to work with you. So I think that's 100% the the best thing you could do is be yourself. So I'm not one to like, it's just not my style really to go drop off candy at Halloween to somebody's house. Like that's just not how I am because I don't wait until there's like a major holiday to do something. It's more just, I mean, most of my clients too, I'm friends with on Facebook now, so I can kind of see what they're doing anyhow. But yeah, just I had one where her daughter got engaged. Like so I texted her like, oh my gosh, I saw so and so got engaged. How excited! Like it's not. I treat them more like I do the same thing I would with my clients that I would with my family. So if my brother posted something on Facebook and did not tell me first, I would be like, hey, so I just that's how I do it. I just make it an all year round thing, not just at holidays or birthdays or whatever, but yeah. But thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I think that's really great. It must make people feel so special to be thought of in that way.
Yeah, I guess they do. I don't know. I haven't asked them.
I'm sure they do. It would make me feel special.
Well,
Okay.
good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
Do you have anything you're looking forward to this year?
Yeah, I'm really looking for personally or professionally or both.
Both, either.
Now, I have a big year coming up actually. So I'm turning 50 in June.
Woohoo.
So that's huge. My second daughter is graduating high school and we'll be going off to college. Um, my husband and I will be married 5 years this year.
Congratulations.
It's like a huge there's a lot going on this year. Um, Professionally, I'm just looking, I'm always looking to get better. I have, certain goals for myself, and I'm hoping, I could reach them. Um, I'm just looking forward to, I think it's been nice. It's more, I think the market's starting to like steady out a little, which I kind of looking forward to. Um, yeah, just getting better. That's that's my goal pretty much like every day, personally and professionally. Like one day at a time, always be learning, keep getting better, do your best every day. My kids laugh because they're older now. And I always say to them whenever I either talk to them, drop them off somewhere at school, because my son's only 14, so he doesn't drive yet. I always say, be kind, do your best, and make good choices. And so I think that's that's what I do. That's how I live what I do. So I hope that they're paying attention to what I'm telling them. But I think, if you just, anything, and I think I do that in work. I'm kind, do my best every day, and make good choices, do what's best for everybody. So, yeah. And we're in Ohio. Where are you at? You're in Michigan?
Right, yeah. Window Still is located in Eaton Rapids, so it's kind of more like
Okay.
a mid-Michigan area. Yeah.
So it's raining there too right now?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to sunshine eventually. Yeah. Like more than one day of sunshine. So looking forward.
Yeah. Earlier this week, it was starting to really feel like spring, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wow,
Yeah.
one of these days here, it's just gonna be all warm days.
Yep. And then I'm looking now, and no, it's not happening today. So, yeah.
I think going back to your, be kind, make good choices. Those are such great words to live by, and I think if your kids don't appreciate it now, they will in 5 years, in 10 years. As a former teenager, I
Right.
think we all know that the things we think our parents, the silly things we think they say to us when we're young, means so much more when we're older.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
circling back to your area, we haven't covered what you love about selling in your area.
What I love about selling, honestly, I just like, it sounds so cliche, but I really like helping people achieve what they want to achieve with it, and everybody's different. There's with selling, I mean, I'm predominantly in the Strongsville area, which is outside of Cleveland. We have a great area here. It's, the market's wonderful. Homes typically don't sit very long, so it's very nice. But I truly just like helping, and I think that makes a huge difference. I think that people can not read up, but sense the sincerity. I'm not a salesperson. I'm just not. I'm not going in there ready to draw blood, trying to get somebody to list their house with me. That's just it. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. I just genuinely, honest to goodness, like to help people. And I've always loved home. Like I've always loved housing and, decor, interior decorating and stuff like that. And I like going in houses. I just do. And I like just seeing what people have done and, different ideas that they have and the ways that they live and stuff. I just think it's like fascinating. I met with a seller yesterday and a potential seller, and he had this awesome pool table. They had built this addition on. We're sitting at the kitchen table, and he's built this addition on, and I could see this pool table in there. And I said, he had this little info sheet already for me, and it said pool table does not stay. And I said, everything's negotiable. Is that pool table negotiable at all? He goes, well, it's been in my family for 100 years. And I go, not negotiable, not negotiable. I go, your kid taking that with you. It's not going to anybody else. But yeah, that's what I think it's about. I think it's just, it's interacting with people. It's getting to know them and knowing what they're looking to do. There's some sellers that, they don't care if, and it's crazy to me, but they don't just sell it as quick as, they'll take whatever, that happens. And then you have other sellers that will, like, we have time, we're in no hurry, and then there's always the sticky situations with estates and stuff like that. But I think it's just so important to focus on, it's not like this job isn't a one in all encompassing thing. Every transaction is different. Every seller is different. Every motivation for them is different. And so I think you need to really tailor, how you go about it, how you interact with them, even, your marketing and your all different kinds of things. I think when you put that personal touch on everything and actually care about the clients that you're helping, I think it makes a huge difference. And I think that that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, honestly, is, 100% growing my business, because I think that that's already having a huge impact. Just the way that I do things is more, sometimes I even think to myself, like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't get so invested. But hey, that's just who I am. I can't help it. So, yeah.
I think it's a great trait to have, and I think you're totally right. I think people can tell when it's sincere and when it's a mask.
Yep.
And I think, probably even if you did no marketing, I think like your sincerity would pay back like tenfold, just by word of mouth, just by, being true to yourself.
Right.
Obviously you want to grow a little faster than that. So.
Yeah, a little bit. No. Yeah. It'll pay off. That's what I keep saying. I'm like, trust me, I'm very blessed already, with being relatively not rookie agent anymore, but I've been very blessed. And I think that that's one of the reasons is, when I do meet with people, I'll be honest, like I meet with people and they're like asking me in detail questions. I'm like, whoa, wait, like about commissions and stuff and I'm like, I wasn't even prepared to talk about any of that. Like I just came over to take a look at the house. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, if that's a conversation you want to have, we can absolutely have that. But, yeah. So I hear like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, thank you just for being honest, I hear that a lot, and that makes me, it makes me happy. It makes me happy. It does. It does.
That's so great, Jill. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Would you like to excuse me, I'm going to find my words. Would you like to let people know how they can find you and how they can work with you?
Yeah, sure. So of course we're on Facebook, the Bardy Group. On Facebook, same on Instagram, the Bardy Group. I just got on Threads, the Bardy Group. I don't have X yet. I don't do that. You can also, we have a Facebook or a webpage that's thebardygroup.howardhanna.com. And other than that, you could shoot me an email. All the information or call is on the website and on everything else. So I told you I'm not good at plugging myself like this.
It's all good. We will link everything in the show notes below so people can find you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jill.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And thank you all for watching. This has been The Closing Table, brought to you by Windowstill. I'm Kat Schooler. If you are listening on Apple and Spotify, make sure you are following us so you never miss an episode. If you are part of our YouTube audience, make sure you are giving us that like and subscribe. It helps us find more amazing listeners like you. We will see you all next time. Have a good one.